Well, don't mind me, just reaping the harvest. So, guess we need to talk about a few things. We were going to try to do this on the lake, but it didn't work out that way. So here we are. We're going to do it in the middle of this field. Uh, we saw this field. It looks kind of neat. You know, you see the little wheat coming up here and whatnot, or it's not really wheat. We'll call it that. Uh, anyway, you see the wheat coming up here, and so it's kind of fitting. We just came out of the harvest season, and now we're in the faith season, and we're learning a little bit about what God wants us to do with our faith. I didn't really have a clue on what I was going to talk about. No clue at all. Just a few minutes ago, I started reading a few things, and I had a few things come to my mind. So I guess whoever did this thing on Facebook, I'm guessing this was Randy. Was it Randy that did that? I think it was. Well, Randy, you did some good stuff here. I don't know who this Derek Flood guy is, but he made a pretty good quote, and I'm going to repeat this quote. It says, a relational faith, by its very definition, is inherently social. Randy liked that part because he said social's my middle name. Actually, my middle name is not social, but he seems to think so. But anyway, it's kind of unique because I'm wired just a little bit differently than everybody else. Most everybody sees me as a very social person, and I am. I generally don't meet a stranger. I was talking to a guy, he just randomly come up to me today and just started talking to me because he seen me, and I guess he assumed that I was the kind of person that would carry on a conversation with him, and so I did. That's the way I am. I walk through the parking lot and I'll talk to somebody, and I'm the kind of guy that likes to stop just to talk because that's what I like to do. I'm a very social person. But anyway, it kind of brings me to the mind of thinking about some of the different things that makes me wired the way that I am. Most of you guys don't see the side of me that has to be refreshed, but there is that side. So much to the point of when I'm out, even when I'm alone, I'm not alone, so to speak, because I'll go to the store or whatever and I start talking to people. Last night I took the opportunity to go to Walmart, which just happens to be right over there. But I went over to Walmart by myself to get away from everybody, and I found myself in the checkout line just carrying on a conversation with the lady. Told her my whole life story pretty much, but she was talking right back to me. I mean, she, I guess, enjoyed it. You know, she was sitting there late night shift, but we talked for quite a while, and it was one of those things where even when I'm alone, I'm not necessarily alone. So I have to be refreshed in a different manner, complete solitude. And I joke all the time about hunting. I like to hunt. Not that I like to kill things, which is kind of fun sometimes, but that's not exactly why I like to hunt. Sometimes I'll go out and hunt and I just watch the little reindeer run around and do their thing, and I don't ever pull the trigger. Have the opportunity many times and I don't, because I like to be alone with no one around, no one to try to talk to. But anyway, I have a tendency to be pretty social when I'm around people. But this Derek Flood guy, that's what he was talking about in that quote. And if you read the later part of that quote, he goes on to tell you that basically you need to get, well, here, I'll just read you the rest of the quote instead of trying to remember it. It's inherently social, and he says, as the Apostle John says so powerfully, I'm paraphrasing him, by the way, he says it powerfully, if we say we love God but do not love our brother, then we're deceiving ourselves. We simply cannot say we love God if we do not love those around us. And what's unique about being a social kind of person is you have the opportunity to love people, and it's kind of this is another thing just popped into my head, so I'm gonna say it. It's kind of unique because the same thing that wires me that way is also has that hindrance. You know, that alter ego that comes up. Joy was talking about that on the way down here, and it just maybe popped into my head. We all have those alter egos.
like in the movie Flash, uh, Caitlin Snow has her alter ego, which is Killer Frost, and it's the evil side of her. And what's unique is I was in the same Walmart today, and we were driving through the parking lot. Some guy comes around some other person, about hit me head on, and looked at me like I was the bad guy. And immediately I started being aggravated at this guy. He didn't do nothing wrong, just an old man trying to drive through Walmart. And it's that same side of me that, I'm a very social person, but it also pulls down that social aspect. Um, anyway, you got to watch that your alter ego doesn't take over you and consume you. Kind of forgot where I was going with that, but there you go. Uh, so anyway, when Joy's laughing at me, she's the one shooting this little video here. I was told I only had 10 or 15 minutes. I've got 4 minutes left. Holy crap. All right, we haven't even got into the subject yet. We're going to talk about faith, relationship over results. And if I don't get to all of this, Randy's going to take over and he's going to kind of jump in and teach you guys something, because I'm not a very good teacher part of person. But anyway, I just like to share stories sometime. But I'll tell you what, I got one more story I want to share with you. So you talk about the relationships. Had the opportunity the other day to go see my grandpa, and it's one of those things. I don't get out there as often as I probably should, but I got a text message and they were talking about his mind, and he's kind of starting to forget stuff, and he don't remember everybody exactly when they come in. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to go see him before it's completely gone. So anyway, I went out there and I was talking to him. And while I was talking to him, he was remembering a song, but he couldn't remember the words to the song. And he said, I think there's a song that goes, if you're happy and you know it, then tell everybody. Just say it. And I said, yeah, that's what it says. And so anyway, we talked for quite a while. Well, as I was leaving, I was talking with my aunt a little bit. She was telling me that sometimes he forgets people who they are, and she had to remind him before I walked in who I was. And the other day he was looking at a picture of my dad and didn't remember who he was. And it's one of those things that's kind of unique, because my uncle Steve walks in there, and he's in there quite often, and he remembered him. However, my other uncle, he comes quite often as well, but not as often as my other uncle. And he didn't always remember Gary. As when Gary would walk in, he would sit there and talk with him for a couple hours. And then when he would leave, he would ask my aunt, my grandpa would, he would say, who was that nice young man I was talking to? And she'd have to tell him. And it was one of those things where the relationship that's based on a daily visit is something that you remember. It's something you can hold on to. So you think about our relationship, you put that in towards the relationship, not only with the people that are around us, but also God. You think about the relationship that we need to have with Him in order for it to stick, in order for it to be one of those solid relationships. In order for that to happen, it's got to be a daily relationship with daily visits. One of those things that's just going to keep refreshed over and over and over again. But I think I'm probably out of time. Am I out of time? I got 1 minute. The biggest thing that I want to leave with you here, and I'll let Randy take over and talk more about the results side of this thing. But the biggest thing I want to leave with you is that when you're out and about and you're doing your daily thing, don't let your evil side, don't let Satan steal what God has for you. Don't let him redirect something that is meant to be for good. We got this nice little harvest field that we're supposed to go out and reach. And if we can't love our brother who we have seen, how in this world can we love God who we have not seen? So the harvest is very plenteous. God wants us to reach out. He wants us to be social. social butterfly, so to speak. We don't have any butterflies here. Cute butterflies. Anyway, so much for the butterflies. I'm gonna let you guys go. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Father's Day to those of you men that are fathers, and for those of you that are not, happy Father's Day anyways. Take care. We'll see you guys next week when we're back in town. Have a good day.